Let's talk about strategy. How many people out there who are watching this video right now would be interested in possibly making an additional $250 a day? We're talking about $1,250 additional a week. Maybe you have a full-time job. Maybe you're looking for something part-time to do because you have the extra time to be able to say trade. Okay, and maybe you've been kind of been online doing some research, doing your homework, and you have interest in trading futures. Now, the NASDAQ future is a great indice or index to trade. I'll say that now because it has a pretty frequent amount of movement each and every day. And the way I particularly trade it is classifying or identifying supply and demand zones. Okay, and all that is demand is aggressive buying and supply is aggressive selling. So it's a very simple strategy that I use each and every day in my own personal trading. And all I do is mark up a higher base zone and then move down or scale down to a lower base zone. Okay, so I start with my higher base chart. You've got to start somewhere from a top-down analysis to really get an understanding of which way the market is moving. That's where the whole market structure piece comes in. So if you're someone that's new, brand new, and you're trying to learn or understand or grasp some information in which will help you down the road, I'm going to tell you right now, market structure is what you need to master. It is a very important concept in trading. And all it is understanding, is the market making higher highs and higher lows? Are we trending to the upside? And if so, then mark up your demand zones. If we're making lower lows and lower highs, then mark up your supply zones to go short. So let's just say, for example, we are interested in taking a position to go long, right? So what would I do? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to look at the market. Last couple of days, I see that we've been doing what? Making higher highs and higher lows to the upside. And I promise you guys, this stuff is not rocket science. It is not complex. It's very simplistic. I do recommend you have to grasp and understand market structure and recommend you watching the video content here on the channel. The more you spend time watching it, the more that I go over, the same type of concept surrounding the strategy, it will eventually start to click. Okay, again, like I said, it's not hard stuff. This is probably about as simple as a strategy that you can actually maybe find online or actually use, because once you lay your eyes on it and you really spend time identifying these zones, then you know how to trade it correctly. Okay, because all we're doing is using or trying to find confluence, because that's very, very important when it comes to trading. Confluence meaning we're marking up a higher base chart, marking a zone up, demand, and then moving down to a lower base chart and then looking for a demand zone on the inside of that higher base zone that we just marked up on our higher base chart. So for example here, if we're making higher highs and higher lows to the upside, it broke structure here, above here, and above this area here, right? This would be aggressive buying, so there's a demand zone. This would be aggressive buying, so there's a demand zone. This would be aggressive buying, so there's a demand zone. So let's take this last demand zone before I start making a move or down to the downside, right? Right here. Aggressive buying, took out the high, have a demand zone resting right here. Now this is from the 18th of February, a couple of days ago, last week. Now, like I said, all we need to do is figure out the trend, the direction, get it right. Are we breaking structure higher or are we breaking structure lower? This case here, we're moving to the upside. We have a demand zone, aggressive buying, took out the most recent high right here. Mark it up on your higher base chart. I trade range base charts, okay? Again, this is what I choose to trade because these charts are just cleaner to the eye to me and I can read them, a lot easier to me. If you trade time-based charts or ticker volume, whatever works for you, then trade that. But I'm going to mark up my higher base chart, whatever it is, okay? Mark that up first. Then, once I have that zone marked, I'm going to move down to my lower base chart, my entry chart, which is my 24 range chart. Start with the higher base, mark your zone. Then move down to the lower base, mark your zone. The lower base zone needs to be on the inside of the higher base zone. That's where we're getting the confluence from two charts. Okay, we have confluence, higher base, lower base. Look for the opportunity to trade going long. Now, I've just moved down to my lower base chart. The larger box is that 120 range higher base chart zone that I marked up, demand, right? Now, all we're waiting for is the market to come back to it, all right? The bigger box, the 120 range demand zone. In the meantime, while it's doing that, let's go ahead and find us a demand zone resting on the inside of the 120, okay? Right here. So we mark up a 24 range demand zone, okay? Now we've got confluence. What's next? Well, once it's tapped the higher base 120 zone, demand, And once it's moved into the zone, the larger zone, and tap into our smaller base zone, we're just waiting for rejection to be able to go long. Okay. If you want to get in aggressive, you can get in here at 22,229, or more conservative at the break and close of the candle at 22,235. What are we going to be aiming for? Well, up in this area here to start with. Okay, it's not going to give you much if you start, if you get in around 235, but that's fine. It's going to still give you something, right? But I say also look at your higher base chart to see where it could actually go up to. Is there any area of resistance or a supply zone resting above in which you can tap just as well? All right, because just because we got in here on the lower base chart doesn't mean that it's finished when it gets to this area here. We moved back to the higher base chart. This is the area right here. So if we got in around, what did I mention here? Aggressively, right at 229. If we look at the higher base chart, we see we got gaps on candles that still need to be filled going back to the upside. And that's what I aim for primarily, is once I'm into the trade, I'll look back at the higher base chart to see where the gaps on candles that need to be filled back going to the upside. But I'm also going to be paying attention to what's above me as well. Well, it pushed down, pull back. So we've got an area of supply right here, back up to this area right here. So I'm going to take my trade, looking at the higher base chart, back up to this area here. Okay, so that's going to put me at around 263, 264. So again, 229, take it back up to 260, 262, 3, 4, and you got yourself a nice solid trade. All you need to pick up is 15 points on the NASDAQ a day to get you around about 250. Because if you look at this, 15 points, okay, and there's 4 ticks in every point, so that's going to give you 60 ticks right there. 60 ticks times $5 a tick, that's $300 on one contract. So all you have to do is trade one contract, E-mini, on the NASDAQ, picking up 15 points, only 15 points, and this was really a 30-point move right here. So if picking up 15 points of those 30 is going to give you $300 right there. So we're above the 250 mark that we talked about, right? So that's fairly easy to do. So when you find setups like this, where you have a high probability setup on a higher base chart and a high probability setup on a lower base chart, to where the smaller zone is inside the higher base zone, that's going to give you the confluence. But you got to size up. You got to size the market up to see where can you get into the trade going back up to. So let's say the market came down here. This was a demand zone. You got into it big. Look at your higher base chart to see if I get into a trade here on my lower base chart, I got to understand what's above me here, where the market could actually, maybe hold up at, okay, or even bounce at 155 area, right? So maybe I got in here on my lower base chart around 132, 135. I can take it up here constantly, pick up 15, 20 points right there. All right. So that's what this is what I do each and every day when it comes to my own personal trading, just marking up a higher base zone and then marking up the lower base zone. So if we're looking at like supply, say for example, again, we're looking at aggressive areas of selling, right? So the market makes lower highs, break structure below this area here and this area here. That would be a supply area right there. But if we also pay attention, markets making higher highs and higher lows, pull back to the upside. This is a major low right here. So these are minor areas of structure right here in between. Okay, I talk about that in videos. And then the market starts to do what? Make a low, lower high, push lower, and it breaks structure right below this low right here. So this would be a supply area, aggressive selling. Then you just move down to your lower base chart, mark it up on the higher base, move down to your lower base chart, and look for a smaller zone resting on the inside if there is one. And then if there is, then wait for the rejection to continue going what? To go short. It's simple. That's pretty much all it is. It's just finding multi-chart confluence, higher base, lower base zones, okay? All right, again, the higher base zone is going to be on you mark it up on the higher base chart. And then once you've done that, and it is a high probability setup, meaning there's a gap or imbalance back to, at the zone, then move down to your lower base, say 24 range chart, which I trade, and I'm going to find a smaller zone resting on the inside of that. So again, if you're looking to make $250 extra each day or $1,250 a week, this strategy works. You can do it consistently, but again, you're going to need to really master market structure so you understand which zones to trade from, whether it's supply or demand. All right. If you want more insider information surrounding trade setups or breakdowns on trades that I actually take and post over on our Discord community, you can join and become an elite channel supporter. And I want to say thank you to everyone who currently is. That's where I go in and I break down trade setups so you can grasp an understanding of these supply and demand setups. So I'll go over structure in reference to trades that I actually take. I break the trades down, understanding of stop loss placement, profit target areas, as well as just giving an understanding of what my overall thought process was for these trades that I take and post over on the community. Okay. But again, like I said, it's all following structure, but the trade breakdowns have helped many, many individuals, and I may help you out. But again, the link is down in the description portion of the video. It's only $6.99 a month for anyone that's interested. There are tons and tons of trade breakdown videos already there. I mean, there's a number of them that you can watch. And again, it's just as if like you're sitting right next to me and I'm walking you through these setups so you can grasp and understand it and possibly take similar setups yourself. So the link is down in the description portion of the video. It's right below the Discord link. It's titled The Elite Channel Supporter. I want to thank everyone who's currently supports my efforts as not only a trader but a content creator. And you get the trade breakdowns. Again, there's lots of those videos already there. You get the video playlist, and also you get a great video that I covered surrounding market structure. It's only $6.99 a month for anyone that's interested. The way I like to think about it is, how much money do you spend on the price of a cup of coffee a day, or a breakfast sandwich, or your lunch, whatever the case is. This could be game changing for anyone that is willing to learn and educate themselves on how to trade the correct way, and want to make $250 a day. And that's just at a minimum, guys. I'm just talking about someone that's just trying to make some extra money on the side. From a part-time standpoint, you can do this full-time as I do, and you can make a whole lot more than that if you choose to. But I would take the steps to see if you could first be consistently making that $250 a day. And it doesn't take a lot to do it. I'll say that right now. But outside of that, guys, that's all I have in this video for today. I appreciate everyone that tunes in and watches the video content. If you're not a current subscriber, please take the time to go ahead and sub by clicking on the subscribe button down below. And make sure to turn your post notifications on so you don't miss any of the uploaded content. Outside of that, that's it. I appreciate it. If you do me the biggest favor, if you found some value in today's video content, make sure to drop a like by clicking that thumbs up button. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.